Man, my hair is doing all sorts of wonky things here. All right, how are you guys doing today? We are here for That's Riddell Died 400 tonight, tomorrow, Monday, whenever they decide to end up running it. Thank you very much for joining me this early. Why is this echoing? All right, cool. I got that. Stop echoing. Yeah, BVP, thank you guys very much for really, the kind words here, the kind words online stuff. Got incredibly lucky last night. That, dude, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Thank you guys very much. Yeah, I don't know. That race was nuts, man. I'll even show you the lines real fast that I ran. I was doing a stream with Pearce last night as well, right before the race started. I think he made it private, but here I'll at least put this on because I did have some people asking and stuff. I guess going over to your question here, Matthew. So the way that I view it, in the grand scheme of things, our plate racing, what is it called? Like the amount of plate races that we have really seen in general, due to like all of ever since DraftKings has been here, is honestly a really limited amount when you think of the grand scheme of things. Like when you think of the race in general from NASCAR, what do we get, like 72, 85, whatever the case is, races per year between all three series. When we look at and as I said, I don't include Atlanta in it, but when we look at the amount of races that we run at Daytona and Talladega, the sample size based on everything else is pretty small. And so kind of as the example that I gave in the video on Thursday of like an MMA example or like an NFL example, to where, like, you know, it's an NFL showdown and the score ends up being like 13-3, 9-3. It's very low scoring, very defensive affair. You get pretty wonky lines. They're not going to work every time, but you try and aim for those. And I fully believe that those are wreck fests here at Daytona and Talladega and stuff. And so for me personally, last night's race does not change the lineup construction at all. Wes, I already see your comment. I I would probably just play the guys in the back. That's just how I am. And as I said, here. Let me go ahead and put this on there. Let me add this. I mean, if you guys have been following my content and stuff for a while, you know that I even bring up the optimal lines real fast. People do like viewing this one. Sorry for the wait here. Man, I got this optimal lineup one buried in like 4 different tabs. Sheets, old sheets, 2021 sheets. All right, where is this at? Trucks Daytona. What the hell is my optimal? Oh, this is a terrible start to the video. Usually I'm way better at. Where is this one at, dude? Cup, Coda, Cup. I have no idea where this sheet is. Oh, it's in this year's. Okay. Dude, this is taking forever. I don't know what the heck is going on. I don't know why nothing is working. Nothing is lagging. I mean, nothing is lagging. Everything is lagging. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh my God. What in the hell is going on here? Okay. Well, hold on. While I load this stuff up, let me answer some questions and stuff, because this is taking forever. In terms of building the playing guys from the back and stuff, specifically for Cup and stuff, like I'm playing scrubs. I'm getting off of ownership. That's not saying I'm full fading like Bubba Wallace and stuff. If I can pull any of this stuff up, that would be fantastic, dude. That would be awesome. I don't know what is taking so long here. Where are my things at? None of my stuff is working. What is going on? Boy, we're going downhill fast. This is a terrible video. Here we go. All right, we finally got it pulled up. Sorry it took so long. So, answering your question, Matthew, when we look back at, and this, you got to remember that this was before this year. So these are all the optimal lineups mapped through up until this year, because as you can see, this was added in February and stuff. And so a lot of people like viewing this stuff, and I'll probably bring up the sheet as well. One that you can get when you support Pearce, support myself, and everything on Patreon. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit more because you should be able to see it fine unless you're like on a phone or something. And this is not in order, like going back from like most recent to whatever. I just put them in there because I wanted to see the distribution of positions played. And these are all Daytona and Talladega lines. And you can see certain races when they go green. Like, I'm assuming, I don't recall right now, but this is probably a Talladega spring race. This is probably a Talladega spring race because typically that's the race that usually ends up going green with very little wrecks. And so you can see that usually you do have, and these are normally Brennan Gaughan and Corey LaJoie back here because Gaughan would nearly almost always qualify towards the rear, even in this situation, or even around this range. However, as last night went, I build lines following this type of race, following just a wreck fest, because I think, and certainly with how NASCAR and the race are going, specifically at the Daytona night race for Xfinity, that's usually the more chaotic race. For Cup, it is by far the most chaotic race. And so while, you know, sometimes spring race at Talladega are boring, I still always end up building for this situation. So you can, I guess, make an argument that that's like building for, you know, like a 9-3 football game, you know, or like an MMA slate to where, you know, the chalk favorites just bust, you know, chaos ensues and stuff like that. Even without that, you can see where and Pearce and I, like I said, we were talking about it yesterday. I need to ask him if he can unprivate that stream. I don't believe you need to play the optimal line here. I think we get caught up on, we got to have exactly one guy from this range, one guy from that range. Actually, we got to have one guy from this range, one guy from that range, one guy from this range. I think that is I don't think that's the way to go about it. Maybe because the 15 is 27,000 people. So you certainly need to be getting closer to that. But when you look at how people score and then look at where they're at in terms of ownership, you know, like you can score last night. Like, hell, even lines that didn't end up in the top 100 for me still had guys that were wrecked out. There were multiple lines last night in these contests that had, you know, 3 to 4 guys wrecked out. It's just the fact that you played guys starting in the rear. They didn't lose you any points. You know, there was multiple people in the race last night that DNF'd that ended up with, you know, 27 to 35 points just due to the fact that they started in the 30s. You know, they made it through the wrecks, and specifically when wrecks get chaotic like that race where the leaders start wrecking late. I mean, that's kind of the races that I build for. And so for me, Matthew, when we look at the strategy for single entry, let me actually let me take this off real fast. When we look at the single entry stuff and we look at drivers that I think are going to carry ownership, it is going to be, let's go ahead and move this one over now. Where are we at? When we look at the people that I believe are going to carry ownership in this race today, it is going to be people that when you're looking at results, you see a lot of green. Okay, now this is the sheet that, you know, we use here. And it just has just an absolute shitload of tabs and stuff. Like, this is a massive sheet. Okay, I love how this looks. Some people don't. I would much rather see this than just columns of top 10s, top 5s. We do also have and we were talking about this in the stream last night, that we have the amount of times they have been optimal, which is a very skewed type of data point to look at, because it doesn't give you context on where these people were starting, what type of race this was, what type of pricing they were. Okay, you just see that, oh, this guy was optimal, blah, blah, blah times. You got to play him. Okay, and so when we look at how people build lines, and trust me, I have Daytona is the one time that I listen to content, that I listen to everything out there, and a lot of people are looking at this stuff and seeing that, look, Eric Almirola, we got to absolutely play this man. Have you seen the way he finishes? Have you seen how many times he's been optimal? Okay, so I fully believe that Eric Almirola gains a ton of ownership today. And oddly enough, if you look at this column here, we kind of did this last night. This was kind of how we ranked people based on just wanting to build lineups and stuff. This is not like a cash build or a GPP build, just in terms of like interest, okay? And it very much reflects the pool that I have and the interest that I have in people. I wanted to originally have my ownership for the stream, but I have not finished building my lineups for either site today. But if you have 0 here, I don't want any of you. I don't want any interest to you. Okay. Ones are clearly like, okay, I can see playing them. 2, 3s, the 3s, the guys that I'm going to be the heaviest on. And the reason is, let's kind of walk through here. Why is Gregson a 1 here? Why is Gregson so low? And I will end up going through the comments here. Like I said, BVP, thank you very much for, first off, for your support week in and week out. Thank you for this comment here. I do not plan on extending any type of play or anything like that, man. I have my budget for this cup race. I'm sticking to that. I don't play. I'm certainly not going to max out the 15. I'm not throwing $1,500 on a flight race. Let's go here, Dave. Thank you very much. And see, like, you asked me, but like, I don't do Twitter screenshots. I think that stuff is bad for a lot of people's mental health and stuff. Anyway, we were 0.6 away from taking down the 10 last night. So I finished second there. I think I won the 420 max, or I finished second in that one as well. I won the $1, I won the 25 cent. Those are the only 4 contests I entered. And that's where those are the one, and that's where I finished on those. I don't know, man. I don't see the bots yet. This is where I wish I had like an Adam and Eve link or affiliate link to send you there, but I'm sorry, I don't, Wes. Good morning, Grip. What is this? One more point for you. And Dave, I really do appreciate that, man. That was a wicked sweat. Oh my Lord, dude, that was fucking nuts, man. They kept. I can't believe it, man. I can't believe it. That's all I gotta say. We got so lucky. Yeah, unbelievable. ACS messaged me on Discord, or put in Discord that, and I didn't even look at it this way of just following my process. But this is what I've done, hoping that it would work for really last 2 to 3 years, and we just need one of those Wreckfest types of races. All right, so let me squeeze through the comments here, and then we'll go and look at the pool again as we kind of walk through, and I'll explain why I'm higher on other guys and stuff. Let's see. Yeah, and mid-tier, like I said, so for me, Eric Jones and Blaney are the only guys, or Eric Jones, Blaney, Byron, Haley, Hamlin, Stenhouse, the only guy in the top 20s that I would really bother with. Let's go through here. I would personally single entry. I know some people don't want to do this. Single entry, the player pool starts at 28th, ends at 37th, man. That's how it is. Thank you very much, Dave. I appreciate it. Let me get through these, then I'll go through. But dude, these cars are not durable. These cars are not durable. I don't know why I'm struggling so much. I feel like I'm saying like Durham Devils or something from like lacrosse. These cars are not secure. They're not. They don't take hits very well. I know. And dude, I was rewatching Kansas, and the broadcast keeps talking about like, oh my god, Jamie McMurray, Clint is in the booth being like, man, these cars can take a lot. But no, they can't, dude. You wreck. You're messing up the diffuser. you hit the wall weird, you're breaking toe links and you're breaking control arms and you're breaking transaxles. Okay, the body, this is like it's like a bug, dude. This car has a extremely hard exoskeleton, but the internals are so weak. I was looking back, I was rewatching the 500 this week, and the wreck that took out Hamlin, the man didn't even get hurt. Like, he was not involved in that wreck at all, really. Sure, he spun. It's when Burton flipped over, but he got nailed right on a wheel from a car getting sideways, and that's what broke the suspension on Hamlin's car. I think it was, since it was the first week with these cars at full action, the teams weren't really sure at how fast they could fix stuff. There's a part of me that maybe argues that if that type of wreck happens to Hamlin at this point in the year, they might be able to repair it. But that's what took Hamlin out of the race. It wasn't like his car was destroyed. And when you look back at other wrecks this year, even some of the ones at Talladega this year, the bodies are looking fine. I mean, but these bodies don't give it all and stuff. It's the internal components there, and so I would not be concerned about these cars going through wrecks, my main man. I would not be concerned about it. Thank you, Fast Cars, Fast Money. I do appreciate it. I appreciate you guys hopping in and being here. Thank you very much, Matthew, as well. Yeah, man, it's not even the final lap, dude. It was the final 3 restarts. Like, with 8 to go, or that wreck there, what was it? I don't remember when the second to last wreck was. Or, like, cause who, God dang it, who spun out? Who started all that shit? It was the colleague guys. I think it's when they wrecked. They had like 4 to go, maybe 8 to go. I don't remember. It was when Junior Motorsports wrecked, when they wrecked out. I had no lines cashing because I like to track the lines and see how ownership plays, specifically at these types of races and stuff. So I wasn't winning anything all night at all. And as soon as the Junior Motorsports cars took each other out and that caution happened, clearly, it took people out who weren't able to continue. It hurt AJ and, clearly Barry, Sam Mayer, all these guys had issues and stuff. And so we started slowly getting guys passing people just out of attrition. And then every single caution, we just kept going higher and higher up the board. And so it was really from like lap 8 into like the 2 overtimes. It's crazy. And I can't believe NASCAR didn't throw the yellow with Herb spinning. Like, NASCAR just won that race over. I'm not mad. Like, the people who are like, that's a bullshit finish because they should have thrown the yellow, you are completely right. Like, NASCAR absolutely played their hand there. They absolutely influenced the end of that race. I'm telling you, it's not about, in my opinion, it's not about playing the good guys or the bad guys. It's playing ownership. Like, nobody played Jesse Iwuji. Okay, the man was off pace all night. Okay, the crew's congratulating him on avoiding wrecks that he's 8 seconds behind. Like, he was fine. Joey Gase had a I think it was electrical issue. Not really sure what it was. He went 2 laps down, and really he was the one. As soon as he would pass those guys, because he was 2 laps down, it would catapult us up the leaderboard. We got entirely lucky here. So let's go ahead and talk about these in more detail here. So with Gragson is not Brennan Gaughan, okay? He is not Brennan Gaughan. If you look back, hold on. If you look back at how Noah Gragson races here, dude, I felt like I've had to burp for the last 10 minutes. I am so sorry. If you look at how Noah Gragson races, whether it's in the Beard Motorsports machine or car or whatever, whether it's in the Colleague 16, he does not race like Brennan Gaughan. Brennan Gaughan was methodical. He took care of the car. He was concerned about not tearing it up, okay? Why was Gaughan always there at the end of the race? Because he would ride. He would play it smart. He knew not to put himself in a bad situation, okay? When we look at how Gregson's racing, Gragson does not have a reason to race with that mentality, and we have seen that this year, okay? As I said, I'm not using Atlanta here, but when we look at how Gragson raced in both those races here, and honestly, the inexperience that Gragson has, but Gragson was up front all night. Yes, he is. But as I said in the live show yesterday, and as I've said before with Gragson, You always have 2 to 3 times a race where Gragson shoves up the track, goes low, almost causes a wreck, as happened last night. Okay, Gragson is very, very aggressive here. You have to be, but in terms of expecting Gragson to race exactly like Brennan Gaughan and finish in the top 15, I mean, that's a big, tall ask, okay? He did self-spin at Atlanta, okay? We understand that at the first Atlanta race. Okay, we understand that, hey, that was early in the race. People weren't really comfortable with how, we didn't know what to expect there. But still, Gregson put himself in the situation. He gets wrecked again in Atlanta. When we look at the races here in the 500, Gregson is up there racing, okay? And now he gets clipped through the tri-oval by, I don't remember who it was. Um, it was when it's late in the race. You have Todd Gilliland hit the wall incredibly hard. Somebody else comes down and hits Gregson, and he also heads into the wall. But Gregson was in that pack. A situation where we all expected him to wreck out, and I'll argue with Hamlin. Like, Hamlin is a fantastic plate racer. He knows when to be up there, when to get out. Gregson doesn't have that. We've seen. I mean, Gregson last night mixing it up, blocking both lanes. Okay, I think Gregson is very, and I mean, everybody is risky here. As I say, I think everybody in this race has a plus 50% chance to wreck out. But when we really go and rank people and then base them on ownership, I think people are expecting Gregson to go out there and just race exactly like Brennan Gaughan, where I don't think that. I think Gregson is going to be probably racing the whole time, okay? And so I'm concerned about that in terms of the upside based on his ownership. Like, look, I think Gregson probably still finishes 20s, in mid 20s, somewhere around there. That's going to be great. But when we look at the ownership that he'll probably carry based on him and then have him finishing around 24th, 25th, the line is not going to be dead. Like, Gregson is a fantastic cash play, and he's a fantastic play to build off of. But we need to understand the risk that we're taking when we're looking at the ownership that will most likely land on Gregson here. Okay, BJ, when we look at how his car performs, we have seen him be a bit off pace, and he's the first guy that I would look at to end up going a lap down or multiple laps down and stuff. And so that is a concern there. Hopefully, they either race tonight and a threat of rain is there, whatever the case is that allows BJ to be there. But as we've done last night with, I gotta call her back in a minute. As we looked at last night, like, Joey Gaze is 2 laps down. Unfortunate, but if there's a lot of wrecks, and certainly if the race gets extended, he can slowly gain those people. We've seen that before with LaJoy. Talladega, where are we at? Talladega, that was probably the 2020 fall race, I'm guessing. I don't think it was last year. I think it was the 2020 fall race when he finishes 28. LaJoy was 6 laps down, okay, due to a fuel pump issue, okay? The whole field decides to start wrecking and stuff. He wasn't able to capitalize on those people wrecking. Anyway, so that's why I have BJ as the 2 here, because when we look at the back markers, when we look at the bad cars, okay, he's probably going to be the slowest one here. It doesn't help that we also have a ton of teams failing inspections, losing crew members and stuff. BJ does have to do a pass through. That does not concern me. Okay, that I'm not worried about that aspect. I'm just saying, like, in terms of him being trapped laps down, like, we're seeing where BJ finishes. Okay, you know, right around mid 20s. When we look at Daytona, yes, the fall race last year, which got absolutely dog shit insane. That, like, when we look at how he does specifically in fall races, okay, 28th here, you know, um, 10th here, so I mean, look, he's going to gain positions. It just depends on when these people wreck, what happens there. And so Gregson is more so, I think, is a risky play based on what his ownership is going to be. I think BJ is probably the most riskiest play in the field due to the fact that he might not have the speed to stay up there. But when we look at Landon Castle, David Reagan, Cody Ware, Todd Gillen, absolutely love these guys. That's where I want to be. Okay, these are the people that I want to focus on. When we look at where the ownership is going to go, it's going to center around Bubba Wallace. Okay, we all understand how great of a plate racer Bubba Wallace is. When we look at his finishes and we look at how outstanding the man is here, Bubba Wallace is going to be incredibly highly owned. And it's a rain race, so, NASCAR is going to give it to Bubba, okay? And he's starting 30th, okay? Outrageous amount of ownership is going to be forced to Bubba Wallace. Corey LaJoy as well. I don't give a shit that he is on Stack and Denny saying don't play him. He's going to like that does not concern me. The thing that concerns me is when we look at sheets and we look at when we're the spreadsheet warring and stuff. The green stands out. That's why sheets like this, in my opinion, are far superior than other sheets because there's so many data points here that can correlate directly with ownership. Okay, Corey LaJoy, motherfucker's been optimal like 80,000 times. Okay, and we could probably argue the same thing for David Reagan, but David Reagan versus LaJoy, probably LaJoy's higher owned. Okay, um, Bubba Wallace is going to be higher owned than David Reagan. I will eat whatever ownership and then be tenfold on that with David Reagan and stuff. Eric Almirola, and this is also like the good plays. Like people want to be like, you got to play good plays. And as I said, like, look, I'm not trying to jerk off on here, but I fully believe that we play positions and ownership. It doesn't matter if the guy is good or bad. If somebody carries a lot of ownership, we want to try and be underweight on the field. Same thing with Eric Almirola here. Okay. Eric Almirola, when we look at his runs, specifically at Talladega, and I mean, this is nearly 4 years, 3.5 or 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 years at Talladega with a finish inside the top 10. Fantastic. Even during that same run, we're still seeing top 10s and stuff at Daytona. Daytona is just more chaotic and stuff. So ownership, in my opinion, focuses around, man, I don't know why my nose is so itchy. Sorry. Ownership, in my opinion, focuses around Eric Almirola, Bubba Wallace, Corey LaJoy, Noah Gragson. Those are the people that I kind of want to be lower weight on, specifically in single entry and stuff. I think Bubba Wallace, Eric Almirola, even Gillen, Harrison Burton, going to be owned, but going to be high owned. If I was doing single entry today, I would absolutely just play Ware, Reagan, Castle. I'd play BJ. I would absolutely get off any type of ownership. I want to have a crazy line compared to everybody else. People that I think you should try and get to that are fantastic pivots that have an identical upside to Almirola, Wallace, LaJoy, Harrison Burton, Daniel Hemrick, Chase Briscoe, Ty Dillon. If you want good cars in the back at a substantial discount ownership, Ty Dillon, Briscoe, Hemrick, Harrison Burton. Those should be the 4 guys that I think you should try and be overweight on. I know, I listen to, videos and stuff. People are like, it's a plate race. You never want to be too high on anybody. All right. You never want to have like 50% on people or whatever. And I'm like, I think this is the place that you do, especially people who don't carry ownership. I mean, that might be me being aggressive, but typically I'm like 60-70% on the people that I like here. And if they wreck out, they wreck out. I understand that, okay? As I said, now I guess now it's not as big as an impact, but last night, entering this weekend, if I lose the money, I lose the money. Okay, I am well aware at the risk we're taking by building 4 Wreckfest types of races, for building absolute chaotic races. I fully understand that, and sometimes it's not going to work out and stuff. I wish this stupid Norton notification would go away. As we start going through the field, Brad Keselowski, fantastic plate racer. I know a lot of people they're not a fan of Keselowski and how he races. He throws dumb blocks and stuff, but look, I think people forget that right off the bat, RFK, Brad Keselowski Racing, man, they swept the duels, okay? These guys know what they're doing. They got good cars here, okay? Last time they were here at Daytona, they had, I would argue, some of the best cars, okay? We remember that, or we don't remember that because we didn't play them for DFS because they started up front, okay? But look, they swept the duels, man. RFK came out of the gate swinging and basically winning. People forget that. I would much rather play Keselowski over Eric Almirola. That's just where I'm at. I think, yes, Brad is going to be a lot more aggressive. We'll probably see him end up, doing well or wrecking out and stuff, but we know how he's going to race, okay? He's going to go out there and try and win this race, all right? That could be a good thing or a bad thing, but I don't think Brad is a bad play at all. I think Ty Gibbs is awesome. We have no data in these columns to even have anything to base it off of. I think people kind of stay off of Ty Gibbs. Oh my God, Kyle Busch is the worst plate racer. He's so bad. Well, if nobody's going to own Kyle Busch, let's have some ownership to Kyle Busch, okay? I mean, yeah, he's wrecked out a ton. Okay, we see all these 30th place finishes, and they're like, "No, we can't play Kyle Busch here. He's starting 22nd." All right, this man is not going to kill your line. If you miss on one driver, if they wreck out, you're going to be fine. You have a fantastic chance of still doing good. Even if you have 2 to 3 drivers wrecking your lines, depending on who your other guys are and depending on where these people are. Like, real talk, 22nd, 23rd, 22nd to 37th. If you have 3 guys wrecked from this range, depending on who they are, you might still do more than min cash. That's just how it is. Okay. Um, Austin Dillon, this is where, my interest kind of weighs a little bit. I mean, we are kind of halfway through the field, so at this point, these are guys that I'm looking at as like, additions to like just a full on, the 4 guys in the back at this point. Uh, really up from like if I'm playing these guys here, depending on my builds, like if I'm building one that a race goes green, I can't really afford to look at these bad guys real quick. Yet again, man, I need Pearce to unprivate that damn stream. This is kind of where my mentality is in terms of correlation. We don't hear that a ton in plate racing or even in NASCAR, but I think correlation is really huge here in these types of races, and I don't think people are really building with correlation in mind. And the way that I mean that by, and let me explain that. When we look at how races play out, and we look specifically at um, and look, these are optimal lines. Okay, sometimes these aren't play, whatever the case is. When we look at races that are absolutely chaotic, okay, so like a Talladega Fall race here, look at where these guys are starting. I know they're mid-20s. Okay, so we don't have a ton of like absolute backmarker studs. Scott was there back when he was around the 44, but like, these are good guys in the back. So this is a race to where it wasn't chaotic enough for people starting dead last to be optimal, but it was good enough for people in the back to gain positions and be up there. When we look at like this race, for example, well, Hamlin finished last, or Hamlin started last. Let me find another. At least, so like, where are we at? Oh boy, let me find one that does my Haley. Okay, we'll use this one for an example here. So there's nobody in the top 15 optimal in this race. What type of race played out that Justin Haley? Oh, but Justin Haley's good. Let's stay with me. Okay, Justin Haley starts 35th and finishes 11th. Brennan Poole starts 32nd and finishes 9th. We understand Poole did not have the speed. He's not up there racing. What is a race that causes Poole to be able to finish 7th? Okay, that is not only a race to where he needs to be there at the end, but it's also a race to where he needs an opportunity to be in the top 10. Like if there's good cars in the top 10, we're not getting those back markers. We're not getting those slower, cars up in the top 10 and stuff. That's a race that lend itself to people getting like, I mean, like last night. Okay, perfect example. Races to where Jesse Iwuji off pace is able to finish. He still missed top 10, but he's able to finish 11th. You have Timmy Hill in second. You have Ryan Vargas finishing 4th or whatever. Like, what type of races play out to where those guys get up there? And if it's a type of race where people in the back who really have no business finishing up there are able to finish up there, well, then that means that a lot of good cars are wrecking out. Okay, and so I think something that isn't being talked about enough is if you really are building a stack from the back type of race or type of line, what type of race and what type of drivers are you utilizing in that lineup? Is it a stack from the back with, good cars? Okay. Is it a race where good cars in the back do well? Like Briscoe, Almirola, Hemrick, Burton, Wallace, Gillen type of race? Or is it a race to where it's really chaotic and the guys from the back are Ware, Reagan, Castle, BJ, Noah, and so I mean, I don't think people are correlating enough based on how a race should go. Like if you fully believe in like trying to tell a story with your line, I think that's a situation that people aren't focusing on. I guess Twitter's been going crazy. I haven't seen a lot of it because I have a lot of people mute on Twitter. But people were like, you need here's the recipe for the optimal lineup. You need one guy from 11th to 17th. You need two people from 17th to 24th. You need four people from 25th to dead last, or whatever. Okay. I don't agree with that type of just kind of. I think that's very surface level. When we look at top six and where these positions are, if you look on the left here, you'll see this is starting position, and this column is the amount of times that these positions have been optimal. We also need to be aware that these races lately, I don't know if you guys can see this, but this race only has 37 cars. Okay. We aren't getting full fields every single time anymore. Okay. So we need to also realize that that's why we're seeing more and more positions in this range be optimal. Okay. Like 500 this year had 40 cars. Okay. That's good. But like in races, and I don't have the, like the starting here. I'm sure you can go through and figure out exactly how many people are. But like even when you look at these average positions here, like Daytona across the entire board, average starting position 25th, average finish 26th. Same thing with Dagan stuff. So like when you put this side by side with this weekend's race, Gregson starts 37th. We got this range here filled with back markers, and then we have the good cars in the back filling this range. Okay, that's also a reason why we see like 30th place be optimal a ton of times, because it's usually a good car, like a decent team, a top 20 team week in and week out, or a potential top 20 team week in and week out, starting here due to a poor qualifying, a poor metric with how this week played out. We see this range here from around 23rd to 27th. These are great cars. We have seen it multiple times that when you look at the people starting this range, you're like, those aren't bad guys. Okay, let's kind of go through and find some of those guys, like Hamlin. Sometimes he qualifies poorly. When we look at Chris Buescher, Anthony Alfredo, Eric Jones, these aren't bad cars. These are guys who, it's understandable. Anthony Alfredo will qualify 30th, okay, but we understand that he has just enough upside as other people. Let me try and find other ones real quick. Yeah, here's an example. Like Ryan Blaney starting 27th. Like, of course, he has a ton of upside here. He's a great car starting in the back of the field, and so we also need to keep that in mind when we're looking at how many times certain positions are optimal. We also need to figure out the story and why that is. Now, I'll cut it off at 37th because that's what we're dealing with today with 37 cars in this field. This is not insane. As I said, I'm looking around 20, like single entry, that 121 question I had. My player pool would be 22nd to 37th. When we look at the amount of times that these positions have been optimal, we're right in that range. We get a bit different, fading, certain ownership, and we still have just as much upside at hitting the optimal line as like a chalk play would. Okay. Yes. And now Pearce is also including Atlanta. Personally, for me, I don't include Atlanta. But we are seeing that, like, I believe Chase Elliott was up. Yeah. So that's like where starting position 1 has been optimal one time based on the data that we have here due to Chase Elliott being optimal in the Atlanta race. And one of the Atlanta races here, but we can see the distribution of how rare and how small it is. Like, look at the amount of races we have here. Okay. This is just Cup. Okay. So in the Xfinity sheet, we have the same thing. Look at the drastic fall off between these being optimal, these positions rather, and these positions being here. Like, I will just build with this area. That's all I'll do. I don't see a reason to get insane. And we got to play, you got to at least have one guy in the top 10, maybe starting night. And I'm like, dude, I don't even want to worry about that. Okay. You are going to be fine not playing guys like in the top 20. Okay. We're going to be fine, and if you're not, if the race goes green, you lose the money. I think, at least for me, like, I am a very high risk tolerance player, not only in this but just in life in general. I'm here to live and have fun. I like playing aggressive here. That's just where it is. Like I said, some people like building lines for showdown contests where you have a potential like low scoring game. I like just hammering, absolutely hammering low-owned plays at Daytona and Talladega. That's where I'm at. Chase, I would much rather have David Reagan, and also 55 of you guys here. I hope that makes sense. Like I hope like I'm explaining where I'm coming from. I'm at least I'm hoping that makes sense. I'm not just here rambling and stuff. I would go David Reagan over Ty Dillon, but I think they're both plays. I'll answer this based on what I have. Let me get my stuff out. As I said, I haven't finished my lines yet. I did like 12 yesterday. I'll probably do the final 8 today. I want to see what people are talking about today in terms of ownership and stuff. Let me see. Briscoe over Burton. I love Briscoe today because nobody wants to play him. I currently have 12 lineups. I have Briscoe in 4, and I have Burton in 4 as well. So maybe it's not as drastic as I thought. I think I'll probably end up with more Briscoe at the end of the day, but I think I would much rather have more ownership. Like I only have 1 line with Bubba in it right now. I only have 2 lines with Corey LaJoie in it right now. I currently have Gregson in 5, but in terms of 20 lines, I'll probably end with Gregson in 7. I'll probably have 3 with LaJoie. I'll probably have 3 with Bubba when it's all said and done. I currently right now have 1 lineup with Eric Almirola in it because I think his ownership is going to be huge. Like I'm just trying to get off of the ownership, all right? That's just where I'm at. Who am I the highest on right now? I am the highest on Cody Ware, David Reagan, and Landon Castle. Those are the 3 guys that are making nearly every single line for me. No, Matthew, you're not crazy at all. Like I'm telling you, you got to just block the names out. Anybody can wreck here. When you look at the statistics of how many people are involved in wrecks at this, we're seeing cars that, I mean, even last night in Xfinity was very, there were only 5 cars last night that, of the 38 cars that were not involved in an incident in some form or fashion. Okay. When we look at the Cup Series in terms of cars that don't have damage at the end of the races, we're usually around 7. Okay. In terms of cars involved in incidents, we're looking at probably 30 cars involved in. I'm not saying oh my God, the incident means they wrecked. No, it doesn't mean they wrecked out. It just means that they got hit by another car. They were involved in another incident. They were involved in an accident. Like that's why I look at this and see it as every car has a 50% chance to wreck out, if not more. Like, I don't think it's insane to say every car in the field enters this race with a 65% chance to wreck, if not even higher. Okay, so when we have that percentage of people who can get involved in a wreck based on their ownership, why would I play a 40% owned driver, whatever Bubba comes in at, probably higher, who has a 65% chance to wreck out? Okay, but Brandon, he has finished fantastic. I understand that. But just like the previous spin of the roulette wheel does not influence the next one, just because somebody has performed extremely well doesn't mean they can't get caught up in an instant. We saw Eric Almirola went on an unprecedented, like 15,000 races in a row at Talladega with a top 15 finish. Then what happens? He got involved in a wreck. That doesn't mean Eric Almirola is bad. And people forget that Eric Almirola finished a race going the wrong direction as well. Even one of the races that he finished in the top 10, he was still wrecking it. Okay. That's where I'm at there. Yeah. Brennan, thank you very much. I wish you were there, man. Dude, we were all in Discord. Oh, that was a fantastic night. I'm looking forward to do it again, man. I am going to have such a blast time watching with you guys. But thank you very much, Flyer. I do appreciate it, man. I wish you were in there last night. But yeah, thank you very much, man. Winstill, look, man, Winstill 400 January. We got it covered, man. We got the money for that covered. Yeah, I'm gonna support Winstill. Don't worry. Yeah, no, yeah, that's what they said. They said that you had to work today, but thank you very much. I do appreciate it. Yeah, I ended up coming home with 9,100 last night. Finished second in the 10. Finished second in the $4, I think, and then won the $1.20, and then won the 25 cent one. Oh yeah. See, everybody's telling me that, man, and that's what I'm doing. I'm fine. I am getting a new PC, man. I'll probably do it because I got the move happening next month. I moved to Houston next month at the end of September. So I'll probably, once I get moved in there, I'll get the parts and build a new computer and stuff. But nothing's changing, man. We're here. I'm not changing anything in terms of anything, content, stuff like that. I mean, if anything, this allows me to probably show more. Not that I'm giving stuff away. Like when I was showing the sheet right now, I mean, it's Daytona. It's not like giving stuff away, but it allows me to do that and not have, a gigantic financial impact of doing that and stuff. And still, like, I mean, I'm not like, this is not like life-changing money. It certainly helps me, not worry about rent and stuff. But like, I'm still gonna be me. I'm not going out there and buying a new car or anything. The one thing I am getting tomorrow is I'm getting a VR headset, just because I've wanted that for so long. Outside of that, saving the money, man, just having it, and just saving it. That's outside of the computer as well, but that's what we're doing. Where were we? Talking with building lineups today. I think Hemrick. I'm telling you, man, if you come up to a situation where you're like, I want to play Eric Almirola, just play Daniel Hemrick. Same play, lower ownership. If you want to play Bubba Wallace, play Harrison Burton. Same play, lower ownership. If you want to play Corey LaJoie, play Todd Gilliland. Okay. If you want to play Noah Gragson, play Landon Castle. That's where I'm at. I guess because I didn't go up all the way and kind of give my opinion on people where I lean. Hamlin, I had him. We colorized him as a 3 because look, Hamlin is he knows what he's doing. He's going to be up there racing all day, but he understands when to back out, when to not be up there and stuff. So Hamlin is going to be very methodical. Yes, he can get involved in wrecks, but I mean he's starting 19th, so regardless, like 19th position, I'd have like two lineups with that type of position, So yeah, there's that. Here, this is the last one. I meant to do this, but this was the lines yesterday. And I built, like everybody understands, I build the exact same way for every single plate race, just hoping we do get a wreckfest and stuff. But this was the builds that I ran yesterday. Hey, what's up, Clutch? Happy to have you here. But no, you're good. Which guys in the back I'm trying to be lower on the field on? That would be Eric Almirola, Wallace, LaJoie, and Noah Gragson. Those would be the 4 that I want to be lower on. And see, like it's not okay. And I mean, this isn't a bad question, Matthew. But in my head, there is no difference. No difference at all. And it's not even worth ranking. Like, clearly, like factually looking or objectively looking at this, Burton is a better driver. He has a better car. He has a better alliance. Everything leans to Burt, okay? I view it as no difference in this race at all. That's how I look at it. These were the builds that I ran last night. The highlighted blue was the Patrick price because I had 5 lines with Patrick in it. So like, the Austin Hill, Nemechek, Star, Vargas, Haley, or like this line here was built for like a race that goes green. And this was the best performing line nearly the entire race. It still wasn't cashing, but it was the best performing line all night because it had people who were racing up front. This is the one Actually, it was this one. It's number 6. So number 6 was the one that finished second or first in nearly every contest. And this is how I built. I wanted to be high. Like, look, I'm a lunatic. I'm crazy, but nobody plays Jesse Iwuji. I clicked the wrong guy. Nobody was playing Jesse Iwuji, so I want to be over the field. 4 lineups out of 11 is over the field, at least with my percentages there. Kyle Sieg, Sieg wasn't owned. Ryan Vargas was owned, he was owned, but he wasn't outrageously owned. Timmy Hill is a methodical plate racer who can't afford to really tear stuff up. Same with JJ Yaley, Mason Massey, and so look at the amount of Joey Gase that I had. Okay, when we look at these types of plays, who is a Joey Gase in today's race? That's like BJ McLeod. That's like Cody Ware. That's Landon, not Landon. I already said Landon Castle. But you get the point. This is how I build lines. When we look at, excuse me, and usually, like I said, I'm usually way more aggressive in Xfinity, or not way more aggressive, but I usually never spend anything close to max salary, but this is the amount of money left over. And the reason why I kept these blue is because I wanted to see. My voice is going away. I wanted to see what the ownership was, not the ownership, the pricing was with Patrick in, based on putting in Josh Williams. And so, look at the amount of money I'm leaving over. I got $2,400 left over on this one. The one that I played last night that had $16,000. So salary doesn't matter either. I know these are high salaries left over, but if you got one lineup with 800 left over, then you got one lineup with 20,000 left over, one lineup with 11, it doesn't matter. Position names don't matter. Salaries don't matter, in my opinion. It is all ownership. And at that point, you've done all you could. Whatever happens, happen. And that's how I looked at it last night. Before the final 2 restarts, after the junior cars wrecked out, I was like, all right, I've done all I could. I have played lineups that have guys who are not up there racing, that are not involved in wrecks. I think I had 3 lines in the top 100 on the 15, which is awesome. That's what it is. You heard people in NFL talk about having a certain amount of lines in the 1 percentile and stuff. That's all it is. Just trying to get lines in that area, and then hopefully having luck go your way at that point. I have no idea if today's race is going to be as chaotic as this, but I am building this way I build this way for every single race. So that's where I'm at there. Where's my mouse at? No, yeah. Even Cody Ware odds, dude, for me, it does not bother me putting $5, $10 on Cody Ware to win. What are you gonna do? Spend at McDonald's? Or even lineups here, you go to the movies. I think Al just put out a video yesterday for the NFL stuff, and he had a great example of entertainment expenses. It's more so for a DFS player, what player you are. But look, watching this race, you put $40-$60 on bets or lineups or whatever, it's very equivalent to going to the movie theater. Okay, once you get the tickets, once you get the popcorn, once you get your stupid drink and everything, that's a $35-$40 investment, depending on who you're with, depending on what movie it is, what theater it is. It's all just what you choose to spend on. So Cody Ware, $5 to win. I don't think that's insane at all. Cody Ware is. I'm telling you, I love Cody Ware. I love all these guys in the back, man. Love them all. I don't see a reason to not play people at all outside of ownership. Yeah, hey man, as long as and look, man, it's I don't know. We got lucky. That's more so what it was. But trying to build for situations like that is just what I'm trying to do there. So this is okay. I also want to add, and hi Clayton, I know you typed your own name. I'll say it. I'll point out and stuff. 56 of you guys here have been live for an hour. Thank you guys very much. I'm not saying ownership is overrated. However, I don't like this question at all because I don't care if you're using like if you're on Osmo or Rotograph, I guess Stochastic is what they call it now, whatever site you're on, whoever you trust makes your ownership and stuff, and you pay for that. Personally, I don't pay for ownership. Like, I don't pay a site for ownership. I can have an idea of what people come in at, and that's all I need personally. I believe that ownership is a bit overrated, like straight up, especially with NASCAR with the sizes of contests. It's not as nearly as important as the NFL. Secondly, if you use an optimizer and you have projections that you trust, you can just run the optimizer without any changes, and it'll give you a base ownership of like everybody. Like, and so like in terms of ownership and stuff, I don't know if Reagan's going to come in at. I don't know what Bubba's going to come in at. Bubba will certainly have a much higher ownership compared to David Reagan. Okay, Bubba Wallace can very easily push 50 to 55, 60%. And even if he didn't get that, Bubba Wallace ended up being 46% owned, it doesn't matter. I understood that Bubba would be one of the highest owned guys on the slate. Okay. I don't know what Cindric comes in at. I don't know what Blaney comes in at. I don't know what Briscoe comes in at. Kyle Busch. I can tell you right now, if it's based off of track history, everybody's been shitting on Kyle Busch all day. So people won't want to play Kyle. I don't know what Briscoe. I don't know what Blaney comes in at. If we rank these guys based on where they come in against themselves, Wallace is probably the highest. Blaney's probably the second. Reagan's probably the third. Cindric might be fourth. Briscoe fifth. And Kyle Busch sixth. That's how I look at ownership. Okay. Granted, like I said, most weeks I run my little MME tool that you get when you support Pearce and support myself on the Patreon. You have a little mass multi-entry tool, but you can use that to find ownerships as well. Like if you want to use my projections, Pearce project, whatever the case is, you can just run that and have an idea of where the ownership comes in at. Personally, I think ownership is a bit overrated. I mean, really, when it comes to plate races too, like you just need to understand that he'll be like Wallace is going to be a top 3 in ownership today, and that's really all we need to understand that point. I do appreciate you guys joining me this Sunday. Like I said, I'll probably be here for probably another 15 minutes or something. If you guys want to chillax, if you guys want to talk about conspiracy theories, if you guys want to, I don't know, talk about how the moon landing was faked, whatever you want, man. It's Sunday. It's Sunday. It's not Sunday. It's Saturday. It's we're at Daytona. This is my favorite weekend of the year, man. I love these two races. Last night were awesome. We had cool looking crashes. I mean, we just didn't get a flip, but oh well. Maybe hopefully we'll get it tonight. But yeah, that's really where I'm at. Let me get contest real quick on DraftKings, see where they're filling, because I still gotta upload, or I still gotta enter a certain contest and stuff. But technically 7 hours and 41 minutes till lock. If it rains tonight, I don't really care if it rains tonight or not. We'll figure that out. I have not seen any of these movies. I'm sorry. The last movie that I saw was The Black Phone in theaters, and I really, really enjoyed that film. I thought it was a very, very good film. It was very simplistic, and that's not an insult at all. It wasn't overly complicated. We didn't, it wasn't stupid like It or anything. It's very, specifically in today's environment with all these stupid Marvel films and all this crap from Disney and all these franchises killing themselves. It was very, very refreshing to see a movie made like that. And it's ironic that I say it was It when it's written by Stephen King's son, or at least the story was based off of his. But I really, really liked The Black Phone. I would highly recommend that to people. Yeah, but I have not seen any of those. Like, okay, dude, I mean, that's some fucking bullshit right there. No offense, don't tell me whose site that is. I don't want to be talking there. Reagan, I think he'll certainly be more owned than that, but like Almirola at 20, that's not going to happen. Gregson at 10, that's not going to happen. There's no way. Another reason with ownership, and this is speaking, and man, I mean, like I said a lot of this yesterday too, so it was before the win and everything, so it's not me doing a fucking victory lap or just jerking myself off here. Or maybe I think I answered it in a comment yesterday. Specifically for the lower series, Truck and Xfinity, there's a lot of sites that mail it in. That's just how it is. Not saying who it is. I don't want to go down an argument. I'm not here to have a dick measuring contest. I'm not here to have a Twitter war or whatever stuff is. But it seems to me that more and more people are mailing it in now, really on ownerships. Like, I don't think those ownerships are accurate at all. If going off the top of my head, I could be wrong here. I think Reagan's more at like 28 to 30. I think Gregson's more at 25. I think Almirola is probably closer to 24, 25, which is, I guess, close to his 20, maybe even a bit higher and stuff. But Gregson at 10 is wrong. I think Reagan at 45 is I think that's a bit too high for Reagan. That and like I said, I think exact percentage ownerships, like down to the exact 10th, bit overrated for NASCAR. But you got to remember that, especially around this time of the year, football is right around the corner. Okay, that is what everybody is focusing on. That is what everybody's primary goal is. I believe we have the final preseason games this weekend. I sound like an idiot. Most people would understand, like, yeah, the final preseason games this weekend. I'm like, I believe they are. I think they are. I don't know. They're playing football. They're playing with the pigskin. Did you see that Baker Mayfield throw last night? That was awesome. I saw that on Twitter. But when end of August and in September, people are shifting gears to NFL. Okay, that's just how it is. NFL is the biggest fantasy sport out there. It's what people focus on the most. And so you just, and it's not an insult to them, but I think you spend kind of less time on that. And so at least that's with me. Like I just cover NASCAR here. I focus on NASCAR. I play NFL, but I still put all my time and effort into mainly NASCAR and stuff. Football is a sport that, so like I'm a patron of Sal Vetri. I think he makes good projections. I think he knows what he's doing. I'm very curious to see how accurate his stuff is this year because he's taken a step back in the content creation side. So I am very curious to see if he stays there. If that's not the case, I might go to SaberSim or something at some point this year. But with football, I would find people that I trust, and then I not that I trust, but for me it's easier for me to feel confident in somebody's projections or somebody's kind of like ownership ideas, and then just have that in mind. To where like with NASCAR, hell, even sometimes even when I run my own ownership and stuff, it's not that I second guess it, but I'm always like, oh, is it really going to come in around there? Like I don't know. With NASCAR, it's too much. I feel like I have to second guess ownership far too much to feel comfortable with trusting any one site with that. The other way to deal with that, which a lot of people who spend a lot of money on this does, is they're subscribed to a lot of places due to understanding what ownership does. And Stevie still has a gigantic pull at Roto Grinders on ownership and stuff. But like Sheets, I know at True DFS, I know for a fact that he's on multiple sites, and so he gets the ownership from multiple places that he trusts and pushes it and puts it together to get an aggregated ownership from different sites. I think that's the real way to do it. It's not one specific site. It's having a couple places that you trust, running that together, and then you have kind of a good idea and a lot of different minds coming into where ownership is. But that's where I'm at there, or that's my opinion. 60 guys are here. I feel like I am boring the crap out of you guys. I feel like this has been a terrible stream, but you guys are here. Thank you very much, Barry, for saying that. Thank you very much as well. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. How many? Let me look real fast. Let's talk about FanDuel real quick. because we haven't done that yet. I approach the same way as I do DraftKings and stuff. As I said, I'm preparing myself for a race that we end up having a lot of wrecks in. In terms of the back markers at FanDuel, nobody plays them. I've gone maybe probably like 2.5 years at this point, consistently having lineups that have like a cumulative. Dude, I cannot talk today. Cumulative. I think that's how I pronounce it. Ownership of like 9 to 8%. Like, you just like I would bet. This is a bet that I would take. I would bet $100 right now. BJ McLeod is less than 1.1% owned on FanDuel, and a lot of the other, like David Reagan, maybe comes in around 10. I bet you Cody Ware is probably around like 7 or 5, if even smaller. Like, people don't play those guys at all on those sites. I don't know if it very similar to like last night. I don't know if the size dictates you need to get that crazy, but I always do that. But like, the contest for FanDuel is like what, 8,000 people a day? The $7 one, that is. What else? Yeah, like the $7 or the 7-1 is 7,600 people. I don't know if it dictates getting that crazy, but that's just how I always do it. Like I said, if I fully believe that the entire field has a chance to wreck out, I'm just gonna play guys that aren't owned. And yeah, I think we've covered it all. I think I've explained where I'm at, the stances I want to take and stuff. So yeah, I just want to say thank you guys very much for watching this, supporting me and Pearce, or Pearce and I. Thank you for supporting me through all this stuff, and thank you for all the just the warm comments and stuff. I really do appreciate it, guys. I'll talk to you guys late. Oh, F1. So I'm gonna try and do an F1 video today. I'll probably get that done probably later in the afternoon. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get it done. Projections for F1 will be up later and stuff. I forgot if Q is done or not. I don't remember right now. I'll figure it out when I get done with this. But remember that F1 has a contest tomorrow as well. There's a chance that people maybe don't focus on it as much since we've had such a big break for F1. There's nothing going on. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know where I was going with that. I'll see you guys later. And big grip, everybody here. Thank you very much for the support and just being here and watching me. I do appreciate it.